Keith, today I brought the crew. Best guys I know at throwing. Got Jack and Robert here. Jack got his Jack Dagger daggers. Robert's gonna be throwing everything. Well, they're both gonna be throwing everything, but here it comes, brother. Just talk to me. Preferable size, weight. Do you have any preferences?
I do. Size and weight for a knife should be 12 to 16 inches. Anything shorter than 12, in my preference, it's more difficult to manage the rotation of that knife, and sometimes those knives will bounce back at you faster than you threw them down range, right? So 12 to 16 inches, these are right about 14. That's kind of the peak of that bell curve, and they should be about 1 ounce per inch, so around about a pound, and these are hit right about that mark. We designed these, my friend Tim Jester and I designed these for the TV show Top Shot. It's a Bowie knife shape that gives you the fastest learning curve to get you from never done it to success as quickly as possible for throwing. And we took the design. Now it's available in cold steel, and it's fantastic.
Quick question. Do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this?
The quick answer is yes.
Everything.
You can do anything you want with this knife. It comes sharp, so you might want to detune the edge if you want to throw it by the blade before you go put your hands on the blade. You can throw it thumb slider like this and stand wherever you want. Just push the handle and guesstimate how much oomph you got to give it before the blade comes around, touches the target. Otherwise, you're going to be doing lots of handle throwing. If you want to do that, stand 1 spin away, 2 spin, 3 spin, or right up close and personal, 6 to 7 feet away, and just push it in, and it's going to do no spin. If you want to do no spin kind of throwing, you can choke back with it, put your finger on top, and you can do that. It's a lot more difficult because this is a larger knife. Most people practice no spinning with a smaller, shorter knife, but it is possible, and the bump on top certainly helps that.
What's your thought on this?
Me, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. When we do train young people, I've been doing this for years. As you've seen the martial arts and then doing the videos, all the proof cutting, I've always leaned more to instinctive throwing and more combative throwing. I do practice the basics. I would call these the basics or the sport style of it, to where I usually throw with intent. So when I throw, it's either to create an opening, wound, some of the things that I've learned over the years, like, a knife like this is big, and when you get hit by it or just throwing it, it's easier to, like you said, to control the revolution of it. Mm-hmm. But it has a huge impact, can be very lethal. Knives, typically, all throwing weapons, to kill somebody, you have to be perfect on that. So typically, the techniques we use are more for creating an opening or defensive to get away, wound that person to get away. So I'm on the other end of that, even though I do practice the basics and the more traditional stances, but then I go to the more, I would call them more dangerous techniques, because you do have bounce backs, you do miss, you do, it's a gamble.
What about rotation versus no rotation?
It's all about range to me and technique. When you're standing here at a target that's not moving, it's sometimes, if we were me to you and we were fighting, it'd be no rotation. It would be, I would create an opening and just let you have it. I'm going to come close, come up.
5 feet back, what do you do?
I'm not going to throw it. Take a look at kids that play baseball today. You got teenagers now that are throwing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs. I heard. I was like, what?
That's insane.
There's a kid behind it that can catch it, and there's a kid with a stick that can hit it. So the reality is, if you know this knife is coming at you, actually it's very hard to hit you. Go take this and train. Go get some rubber trainers. Once everybody knows you're going to throw the knife, you'd be shocked how hard it is to actually hit somebody, even flat.
Yeah.
Even if you glance them, they're gone. They're moving. So it's one of those things that you have to set it up. Don't give it away. Let them have it.
Okay.
And that's always been my opinion, is why would you throw away a perfectly good weapon? Hang on to it, walk up.
If you have 5 others.
Well, if you have
actually, that's a technique.
If they're stacked up, if they're all stacked up, ready to go, you sure, throw one, grab another, throw another. If they're all ready, or if they're fanned out in your hand, they're ready to go, sure, let them have it.
Historically, throwing weapons have always been used for a mass coming off at you. You would throw whatever with spears, rocks, stones, whatever it was, to whittle that down so the impact wasn't good. Or like when you watch ninja movies where the ninja throws the star and pulls the sword, is to create an opening. Or you want to get away and you want to wound somebody so they don't chase you down.
My whole view is, if you had to throw it at somebody, even if it's 5 feet away.
Okay,
what would it rotate? Would it not?
Yeah, here's the thing. I was told many years ago by Bob Karp, master of the blade, years ago. He actually taught me in my beginning, taught you too,
He taught
right?
me. A very good friend.
Unbelievable guy. He knew Skeeter Vaughn. I don't know if you're familiar with Skeeter Vaughn. He's the only confirmed guy to actually confirmed to kill people with a throwing knife in combat.
World War II.
Yeah, and he said, don't play games, throw it at their head as hard as you can. Because instinctively, they're going to move their head offline to get away from it. And when they do that, it creates an opening. That's it. So he says, if you hit them with something like this flat in the head, it's a bonk. It doesn't matter. So they said, don't overthink it. Just at their head as hard as you can.
What about sizes? Jack talked about everything. You're really good with throwing knives. I've seen you with little knives.
I try to do the gambit. I do not try to get stuck in. Now, I agree with Jack. When you're starting out, when you're learning, you need to have a consistent size, a consistent target, a good target that'll easy to stick, and knowing your distance. You got to get that base. I had to do it too. I have to get my foundation. Even like martial arts, you got to get a foundation before you grow off of that. If you don't, so then once you get off your base, then you can explore from going from a large heavy knife to a smaller knife. And also, I'm not afraid to go to somebody and learn from somebody. Like I've learned a lot from Jack. I'm not afraid to go out there and have an empty cup and show up and fill it up.
Same. And I've learned a lot from Robert, the way he throws his folders. We were throwing it at the car a while back. We're trying to penetrate the sidewall of a tire. And with miraculous results, some hilarity ensued. And the force with which we were throwing was insane.
Yeah, you had to rifle them.
You sure did. And, but in the Jack Dagger Academy, there's fundamentals and there's basics, and it's backyard recreational style throwing. Is to learn how to do it, control it, get a foundation from which then you can experiment,
and grow,
go off the rails.
How many do you recommend having for throwing? Seriously, I mean, I want everybody to buy a cold steel knife, a bunch of them, but comfortably 6.
I was going to say exactly the same number.
Look, here's the thing: if you buy, I know a lot of people, they bought one from me. I'm like, you're going to be picking that up a lot.
That's the key. I say 6. The reason is 3 and 3, so you can have a friend and you can play games. You can play tic-tac-toe. When I first started throwing, we all got really good where we stood in our one spot, our same grip, and threw. But then we wanted to grow from that. And like you said, when you have multiple knives, you don't have to travel as much going back and forth to the target. But also it gives you the opportunity, when you build your target, you build it with multiple dots on there, because then I don't damage the other knives when I throw. And I'm also learning to control exactly where I'm going. I can change where I want to hit. Like me and my brother, when we first started out, we actually drew a body silhouette, and we used to throw, and we'd say left hand, and we'd try to each hit the left hand, and right elbow.
Oh, I see.
Right.
And we would chase each other around, and it made us very, very good. It made us very good.
And I would say 6 exactly, because throw more, walk less.
Yeah.
You throw a knife, something happens. You'd like to make an adjustment.
Exactly.
You can immediately make an adjustment from that first throw. Throw that second knife. However that landed, make an adjustment, keep going.
All right, let's start throwing.
Let's get to it. the other thing.